Seemingly in spite of itself, middleweight has developed a few A-grade, cream-of-the-crop championship contenders. Given so much of the middleweight discussion has been oriented around Israel Adesanya, Dricus du Plessis, and the incumbent champion Khamzat Chimaev, it's worth having a look at two fighters who are surely to be challenging for the belt soon enough. Firstly, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Hernandez first caught my eye back in LFA, back when he beat Brendan Allen in early 2018. Most prospects have a calling card attribute that makes you keep an eye on them, even if they have some holes elsewhere. Fluffy's calling card is his scrambling. Against a quality grappler in Allen, Fluffy was mounted 20 seconds into the first round and used the old Yuri Prohaska push off the cage to bridge and reverse to end up in Allen's guard. That grit and grind is difficult to teach. This fight demonstrates that even if his striking defense is a bit dubious, he had the potential to go far. Flash forward to Fluffy versus Rodolfo Vieira and the evolution is clear. Against a former ADCC 99kg gold medalist, Fluffy showcased some high-quality defensive grappling in the first round, defending head and arm chokes, armbar attempts, and a bevy of takedowns. Look how he uses the threat of the ninja choke to force Vieira to abandon the takedown. How good? Coming out in the second round against a much-depleted Vieira, Hernandez showcased his wonky-looking but effective 3-2 and stayed in Vieira's face consistently enough to force a shoddy double that led to a Jack Hermanson-style arm-in guillotine. Submitting an ADCC and Pan-American gold medalist ain't nothing to scoff at. The Edmund Shabazian fight is a great demonstration of what makes him so difficult to deal with. His default positioning on the ground is one that gives him plentiful options. Here, he escapes this armbar attempt and keeps his left arm hooked around the neck, down towards the chest. He switches his right hand through so he can threaten the arm in guillotine, similar to the Vieira finish. Look at all the options. If he wants to commit to the guillotine, he can. If Shabazian gives up his back to avoid the guillotine, he can throw the right leg over the top, bring the left leg all the way through, and then threaten the back. And if Shabazian puts his back to the canvas to avoid both of these options, Fluffy can throw the leg over the top and either mount or go to half guard. In every one of these scenarios, he ends up in a solid offensive grappling position. He does this kind of thing a lot, but he's also not afraid to give up on an exchange if he thinks he can land some damaging blows. Here, he's lacing the legs Dagestani style, but instead of figure fouring and consolidating position, he lets Shabazian's legs go, stands up, and lands a big shot as Shabazian turns to turtle. His striking is a bit crazy, but it's damn effective. Against Roman Kopylov, early round 2, he was struggling to deal with the open side body kicking and rear hand body shots from the Russian. So he just wades through, gives up the left body shot, grabs a collar tie, and starts spamming rear hand uppercuts. It doesn't seem like a great idea to give Kopylov free shots, but immediately after, you see Kopilov's speed and body language dip. Hernandez starts walking him down almost flippantly. He submits him later that round. He's got a little bit of everything. Good takedown defense, great scrambling, varied grappling offense, and a striking game that incorporates long, lunging combinations that feed into his clinch work and takedown attempts. He mightn't necessarily be a favourite against Khamzat, but he poses some interesting questions nonetheless. I'd also like to highlight Nassourdine Imamov. I will admit I haven't considered him a super promising middleweight contender for very long. He's always been a pretty entertaining, intelligent fighter, but his recent main event against Caio Borralho really sold me on him as a future title challenger. Against a challenging, powerful, long southpaw in Borralho, he used the lead hand fight and a snappy lead leg teep to repeatedly set up a piston-like right hand and some nice step-in elbows. Here, Borralho beats Imamov to outside foot placement and leaps in with a right hook. Imamov gallops back to reset. He senses a second exchange coming, so he slips his head inside the left, throws the right hook towards Borralho's temple, and extends with this left hook that's as much a push as it is a punch to re-establish range. He's not the greatest striker I've ever seen, but he has taken some big steps in terms of his cardio, volume, and right hand. Enough so that I think he would prove tricky for Khamzat to deal with. Not to mention, he does threaten effectively enough with the front headlock that he might be able to dissuade the odd shot here and there. So whilst I don't necessarily think that these two are shoo-ins to become champions in the next year, they do offer some interesting questions for the reigning champion, and questions are quite fun.